I'm back for another episode of Reading the Wrong Way. In this episode, I'm going to be reviewing the Pretear series by Junichi, Satou, and Kaori Naruse. The Pretear series is rated A for all ages. I think this is a pretty good rating for it. A few of my friends when I was in high school read this series and recommended it to me. I'm not a huge fan of shoujo, but it's kind of growing on me. This is a really short manga series with only 4 volumes. From my own buying experience, you will most likely need to purchase it used off of Amazon or eBay. Just read the reviews of the seller and you probably won't get a book that's too badly damaged. Many books can really be repaired quite easily. The story is about a high school freshman, Himeno, whose father remarries after her mother's death. They go from living in the poorhouse to being in the lap of luxury. Himeno not only has trouble adjusting to school and dealing with the expectations of living in the higher society, but her new family is not very nice. Her stepmother Natsume is controlling and her stepsisters dislike her. Her life takes another sudden twist when she meets 7 young men calling themselves the Leaf Knights, who need her help as the Pretear to save the world from the Princess of Disaster, who thrives on the leaf that brings life to the world. So what do you need to know about the series? There isn't really too much violence. Though this is a magical girls series, they don't really do a whole lot of fighting. It's more Himeno discovering powers as a Pretear through experimentation than full-force battles against monsters. I don't remember there being any language or mature themes at all. Her costumes are very tastefully done. This series explores the human heart and every emotion it can experience. Mawata and Himeno both experience depression, low self-esteem, and coping with loss. Mayune deals with jealousy and general teenage angst. A few characters also experience love, but I wouldn't want to ruin that for you. The 7 Leaf Knights in the series each control a different element and have different personalities. Hayate is the Knight of the Wind, who is cold and distant when compared to the other knights. Sasame is the Knight of Sound, and is very flirtatious and can easily read people's emotions. Kei is the Knight of Light, who is very book-smart and logical. Go is the Knight of Fire, who finds himself in constant arguments with the Knight of Ice, Manen. The 2 youngest knights are Hajime, the Knight of Water, and Shin, the Knight of Plants. All 7 knights have the ability to Pret, or combine their powers with that of a Pretear's, giving her control of their element. The main reason I love the series is probably the artwork. I'm not exactly girly when it comes to my personal style, but all of Himeno's transformation outfits are gorgeous. Each one reflects the knight's element, and I have to say Shin's is my favorite. It isn't quite to the level of great shoujo style artists like Clamp, but it's done well enough to be elegant and easy to follow. I also love the colored pictures at the beginning of every volume. At the end of some of the chapters are bios of the important characters. This one's of Himeno from Volume 1. Also at the end of the first 2 volumes is a mini-series called Hang in There, Mr. Tanaka, that focuses on the family's chauffeur for a bit of added comedy relief. There are also translator notes where needed. This manga does have a 13-episode anime series, and I am one of the not too many that actually thinks the story translates better on screen. It seems to me like the anime is better developed than the manga. Not to say the manga is bad, I just feel the anime gets the story across better. There are more in-depth fights with the demon larva that the Princess of Disaster plants throughout the city. The overall plot isn't really too different, but there are quite a few noticeable changes. Himeno's first encounter with the knights is changed, with her bumping into Hayate rather than just touching hands with Shin. In the anime, Himeno never preets with Shin, even though she does in the manga. All of the knights, aside from the 3 children, are given more mature appearances. Sasame wears a pair of glasses throughout the series, and has white hair instead of the blonde he has in the manga. He is more reserved and quiet than the flirt he is in the manga. Hayate ties his hair back in a low ponytail, rather than pulled back in a normal ponytail. Kei changes the most, yet he remains my favorite knight. He gets a really wacky anime hairstyle, and his skin tone is darker, more of a tan color. He's also a bit of a narcissist in the anime. As far as her family is concerned, Natsue's husband died rather than being divorced. This gives Mawata and Himeno something that they can sympathize with each other. Natsue still expects Himeno to act like a proper lady, but she is relatively kind to Himeno. Mayune, along with Mr. Tanaka, mainly provide comic relief throughout the episodes, instead of the more serious roles they play in the manga. There is a lot of swearing in the anime too, even though it's rated PG. Go figure. I also love the entire voice cast. Every voice of the knights really seems to match the character. One thing about the anime that does bother me is in the English dub they pronounce Himeno's name Himino. But if my Japanese lessons have taught me anything, it's that all vowels keep their sounds no matter what word they're in. Her name should be pronounced Himeno, not Himino. They pronounce Shin as Shin, too. I just have those issues with them pronouncing names differently in dubs. Anyways, I've rambled on enough. This is an excellent series, especially for girls. I think it can really help girls with personalities like Miwata and Himeno, sort of reserved and lonely, find a little bit of hope and happiness. Like I said, it isn't only about exploring the negative emotions of the heart. There are tons of comic reliefs throughout them in many forms. And of course, what girl doesn't love a series with cute boys in it? Definitely worth it if you can get your hands on a copy of either the manga or the anime. See you next time!
When I was given freedom, oh, all I did was plead. When I turned back, there was nothing to see. You closed your doors before I could open mine. Now I know, now I see, it was a wasted time.